हरे कृष्णा। Let's sing short kirtan, then we'll start today's discussion. Nam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminithi Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshakarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome you all in our 14th day. Days are passing very fast. Today we are going to discuss 14th chapter. But before that, how many of you have brought 5,000 rupees check? Please raise hands. अच्छा, ऑनलाइन ट्रांसफर करेंगे, ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम. How many of you are doing that today? 5,000 रुपीज कौन ट्रांसफर कर रहा है मेरा अकाउंट में? सॉरी, इस्कॉन के अकाउंट में. मेरा अकाउंट नहीं है अभी. कोई नहीं कर रहा है. अरे, I thought I'll get lots of money today. Oh, is this 5,000 rupees or assignment? ठीक है.
5,000 rupees.
Okay, बाकी सब बचा लिए अपने पैसे. Rest all have saved their money. Good, very good. So let's see who all have done their assignments. किसने किया? One hand is again raised. This is assignment done or 5,000 rupees? Yes. कितने लोग असाइनमेंट करके आए आज? Good, good. How many of you have completed the assignment? 3, 2. बस. तो बाकी? ओके, ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम. माफ कर दिया. पहली बार है तो इसलिए माफ कर दिया. नेक्स्ट टाइम नहीं माफ कर. नेक्स्ट टाइम 10,000 rupees. Okay, so let's see yesterday's assignment first. Who wants to share their assignment? They can share their screen. Who wants to share their assignment? किसने सॉफ्ट कॉपी बनाया? We have done in hard copy on notebook. Okay, So I'll list down the 19 items, and you all can raise hands, and one by one can tell in brief, just in few words, 2-3 words. What is the answer of that? So this is the words: amanitvam, adambhitvam. So first item is amanitvam, adambhitvam. Amanitvam means humility, right? Yeah. Humility. What is humility? Let's discuss it very quickly, and then we'll begin our 14th chapter. What is humility? Raise hands, and quickly
Not.
we'll take the answer. What is humility? Yes, Matu.
Not to show off. Be humble
no.
in everything.
If you have not read the purport, not solved the assignment, then we can discuss it later. But this discussion is strictly as per the purport. So those who have read the purport, solved the assignment, they can raise hands. Those who have not read the purport, not solved the assignment, just listen what others who have done the assignment, they will reply. Okay. So what you said is right, but let us stick to the purpose. What is humility? Yes, Amisha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, humility means that one should not be anxious to have satisfaction and being honored, such as there are attributes of body, intelligence, talent, and power that one should not be proud of.
Keep it short, keep it short. Yes, humility means do not expect honor from others. People in this material world are very much after getting honor or respect from others. जब तक कोई दूसरा आके तारीफ नहीं कर दे तब तक खुशी नहीं मिलती. Humility means don't hanker for that. Okay. Second is amanitam adambhitvam. Adambhitvam means pridelessness. What is pridelessness? Yes, Arnab.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I am ready for the non-violence. And non-violence is
What is
don't put
pridelessness?
other.
First, pridelessness. I asked pridelessness. Pridelessness.
The Prabhuji, don't pridelessness means actually become humble also.
Oh, that is different. That's why Krishna has used two words, amanitvam, adambhitvam. If they were same, Krishna would not have used two words, because he does not lack words. His vocabulary is unlimited. So what is adambhitvam? Who wants to reply? Vedanta, yes. Yes, Vedanta.
Not to have pride about anything, proud about anything.
Stick to the purport. Purport. What is written in the purport? Yes, who else? Okay, so whoever knows the answer, they can unmute and reply. What is pridelessness? Because in purport, it is not written directly. Like humility means Prabhupada has written, but pridelessness means it has not come. So one has to understand it and then write. Let's see who has
Hare
understood.
Krishna, Prabhu. Hare
Since
Krishna,
all-
Prabhuji.
Yes.
One should
Yes.
not be hankering after this material deception.
Very good. That's pridelessness. People are very proud. I have something. कुछ छोटा सा achievement आ जाता है, they become proud. So these are all material deceptions arising from body. Then non-violence. Yes, non-violence.
Don't put other in distress rather than try to preach the real knowledge.
Yes. So when we are not preaching spiritual knowledge to others, we are actually committing violence towards other living. Bible says what a person has gained if he has lost his soul. So in Ishoprishad it is said, killer of the soul. Soul cannot be killed, but that killing soul means going down, gliding down from human body to other species. So when a devotee is not preaching, not telling others about the spiritual realities, truth, absolute truth, he is actually committing violence towards others. That's why preaching is very important, and Krishna loves those who preach. Yes. Otherwise, amanitam adambhitvam. Shantihi. Shantihi means tolerance. What is tolerance? Tolerance means, yes, Shraddha Mataji.
One should not be practiced to bear insult and dishonor. They have given the example of Prahlada,
Yes.
like people because he was into
Okay, correct
Krishna
answer.
consciousness. People were not
Let's keep
being
it short.
tolerant.
Very good.
Yes.
When we start practicing bhakti, some people may insult us, may speak, may make fun of us, but we should not get disheartened. One should be ready to tolerate others. Right? Okay. Simplicity. What is simplicity? Arjavam. Arjavam means simplicity. Simplicity means,
Don't become duplicity and be straightforward.
yes, Mataji. Roma Mataji.
Simplicity is to live by the minimiest, just
So simplicity actually
minimum.
means, you purport it as been written. Without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the truth
Yes.
to the enemy. A person may be
Yes.
very rich, but he can be very simple in his living. It doesn't always
Yes.
mean that one externally reduces his material assets. Simplicity means he should be free from diplomacy.
Yeah.
Now, straightforward, this word is often misunderstood and often misused. We are very, sometimes people are very blunt, very sharp in their tongue, and then they say, I'm very straightforward, please tolerate. I'm like that. So this is not straightforward. This is arrogance. The straightforward and arrogant, these are two different. Okay, so then there are so many things. We will discuss it at the end. It's 7:45 now. Let's start 14th chapter. So be ready. At the end, we will discuss any doubt, any question it has come from this part. We will discuss that also. So far we have discussed in 13th chapter. We saw Krishna explained about modes. Krishna explained about this body, Kshetra, Kshetragya, and then he explained about the process of knowledge. Arjuna asked 6 questions in the beginning, and then Krishna explained the process of knowledge. Then Krishna explained the object of knowledge is Paramatma, how he can be realized. Then he explained the relationship between Prakriti, Purusha. And Krishna also explained that this Jiva, it is influenced by 3 modes of nature and completely entangled. So one who understands this knowledge, that how Prakriti is interacting, how Jivas are interacting, souls are interacting with Prakriti, and Purusha, that means Paramatma or Krishna, he is completely beyond, he is not under the modes. So one who has this knowledge, he is sure to get liberation. So far we have heard from previous chapters also, Krishna explained it many times. So 3 modes had a discussion about 3 modes had come. So chapter 13 also describes same thing. Conditioned souls are different from material nature, but we are right now entrapped by these 3 modes, which are like 3 ropes or 3 chains. So how to get out of this entanglement, how to come out of this strong, this powerful shackle of 3 modes of material nature, that is going to be explained in today's chapter. So let's start today's discussion. So basically in today's chapter, you will see that modes, how they condition. Each mode has its own conditioning and their characteristics we are going to discuss. What are the characteristics of each mode? What action one performs in the modes, and when one dies in a particular mode, what destination he gets, and how can we transcend the modes. So it's very small chapter, only 27 verses are there. So we'll go a little faster today. So this is chapter number 14, 3 modes of material nature, also known as Gunatraya Vibhag Yoga. Traya means 3. Vibhag Yoga. So 13th chapter, okay, I've discussed this already. 6 questions, description of Kshetra, Kshetragya, process of acquiring knowledge, object of knowledge is Paramatma, who is everywhere, then Prakriti, Purush, and union. There Krishna explained Karanam Guna Sangasya Sad Asad Yoni Janmasu. In this verse, Krishna explained that under the influence of 3 modes, every soul is getting a particular kind of body, and then he is enjoying or suffering various results. So one who has knowledge of these three modes and how Prakriti is working, his vision changes. So this change of vision has been discussed several times in previous chapters. In 8th chapter also, in Pandita Samadarshina, that verse also came. So all our spiritual process, this entire Krishna conscious process is about changing the vision, changing the consciousness. So that comes by knowledge. So Krishna begins to explain this three modes. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Param Bhuya Pravakshyami Jnanana Jnanam Uttamam Yajgyatva Muneha Sarve Param Siddhim Hito Gataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, again, he is not stopping here. Again, I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. So now Krishna is going to explain how to come out of these three modes. So this is very important because everyone is struggling with the modes. When we sit for meditation also, our modes disturb us. Those who are in ignorance, they feel very sleepy. So we also feel like that sometimes. Sometimes we don't feel like sitting. So many desires are coming, so we want to get up. And sometimes it is very nice. Like today's chanting was very good. So this is all three modes of nature fluctuating. So this is very important for a transcendentalist to understand what these three modes are and how to come out of it. So that's why Krishna is saying this is supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge. Because one who knows this, one who knows how to come out of these three modes, he can surely achieve liberation. So that's why it is best of the knowledge. And knowing which, Krishna is mentioning all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. So there are many great sages. Like here in the painting, you see there are 9 sages. They are Nav Yogendras. They were younger brothers of Bharat Maharaj. Lord Rishabhadev, he had 100 sons, and Rishabhadev was incarnation of Vishnu. And his eldest son was Bharat Maharaj, under whose name this entire land is known as Bharatvarsha. And then his 9 younger brothers, they became 9 great sages. They were together known as Nav Yogendra. And then remaining brothers, they became they ruled, and some became Brahmins, ritualistic Brahmanas. So these 9 Yogendras are liberated souls. They are self-realized. And in the Bhagavatam 11th canto, they are meeting with King Nimi. Nimi is the king in the this Yadu dynasty. So they are meeting with King Nimi is discussed. And beautiful conversation about this self-realization, science of soul, working of nature, how Lord incarnates in various yugas, in which form he appears. So all this discussion is there in Bhagavad. So these greats, and similarly we have so many great sages. 4 Kumaras in the beginning they appeared, then 7 other great sages. So all these personalities and all the devotees who have come in the later part of the creation, whoever understood these 3 modes, they have perfected their life and gone back to Supreme Lord. So Krishna is preparing us to understand these 3 modes of nature. So it has also, Prabhupada writes in the purport in this first verse, it has also been explained that it is due to association with the modes of nature that the living entities entangled in this material world. Now in this chapter, the Supreme Personality explains what those modes of nature are, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. So very important. Idam jnanam upashritya mamasa dharmyam agataha sarve apinopajayante pralayena vyathanti cha. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. So what Krishna is mentioning here, that one who understands these 3 modes, he can come to my abode, my nature. Krishna is above 3 modes. He is not in Tamogun, Rajogun or Satogun. He is in Shuddha Sattva, which is pure goodness. Goodness in this material world is still conditioned. It can be affected by passion and ignorance. So let's hear more about these 3 modes. So Krishna explains that in the beginning, this total material substance from which entire creation comes out, what we are seeing right now in this world are different elements, different substances. But in the beginning, even before Brahma takes birth, everything was collectively together. This is also known as Pradhan, means all the elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, senses, sense objects, everything. When it is amalgamated together, it is known as Pradhan. And then gradually each element is separated at the time of creation. This is also known as Brahman. So Krishna is saying Brahman, which is the total material substance, is the source of birth, and I impregnate. So Lord just glances at this. This is process of creation. It is elaborately described in Bhagavatam, Harivansh Puran, and Vishnu Puran. There are many other scriptures. So in brief, Krishna is mentioning that Brahman I impregnate. Means he gives living entities in this material world. He puts them here, and making possible the birth of all living beings. Then we get our body. And this Brahman, then the different bodies which come out, which come in existence, they are different yonis. Yoni means a different species. There are 84 lakh species, which we have discussed in previous chapter. Sarva yonishu kaunteya, Krishna declares, all the life forms, sarva yonishu kaunteya, murtaya sambhavantiya, tasam brahma mahat yonir aham bija pradapita. So all species of life, O Kunti, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and I am the seed-giving father. So Krishna is father and material nature is mother. When father gives the seed to the mother, then she gives birth to a child. So we all are children of Krishna, and this material nature is our mother. So he is the seed-giving father of all the species. Sattvam rajastama iti gunaha prakriti sambhava nivatananti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. So material nature, Krishna is explaining, Sattvam rajastama iti, there are three, gunaha prakriti sambhava. This prakriti which I impregnate and which gives birth to all the living entities, it consists of three modes. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, ignorance, satogun, rajogun, tamogun. These are like three paths. You see here, three paths. And each mode is controlled by one presiding deity. Like Brahma is in charge of mode of passion. He is not in passion. He is devotee of Krishna, so he is in goodness. But he because he creates, and creation means lots of activity, lots of desires. So he is in charge of mode of passion. Then Lord Vishnu, he is himself, he is purely spiritual. He is expansion of Krishna. So he takes maintenance department. All the living entities are maintained by Vishnu, because maintenance means lots of you should know everything. If you want to maintain something, or if you want to maintain somebody, you should know what his needs are, what his desires are, what he requires at what time. So who can know all the living entities at all times? Only Lord can know. He is Paramatma. Even Brahma and Shiva cannot know. So Vishnu takes the maintenance department, and it requires goodness to maintain something. If one becomes passionate, or if one comes in ignorance, he cannot manage. So that's why a leader should be in mode of goodness, so that he can maintain or manage nicely. And then ignorance is controlled by, or Lord Shiva is in charge of ignorance. So he destroys this universe at the end of its duration. So these are three modes. These three deities are not in modes. Lord Shiva is also pure devotee. He is expansion of Vishnu. So he is also in goodness. Vishnu is pure goodness, and Brahma, he is also in goodness because he is devotee. But when the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, whom I Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. I mean, say, conditioning. Now, what are these conditionings? Let's hear one by one. Mode of goodness. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam sukha sangena badhanati jnana sangena chanagha. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. You see three pictures here in this photo. Here a person is eating various things. Some items are fried, some items are, he is putting chili here. Lots of salt, chili sauce is here. So it will come in 17th chapter. The foods are also in three modes. Here a person, he is eating all unwanted items. non-veg, drinking. So this is kind of this food, this kind of eating is in mode of ignorance. This kind of eating where lots of pungent items or chili or hot items. 17th chapter Krishna explains this. This comes in mode of passion. And you see the food here, it's fresh, it's juicy, it's wholesome. Wheat, rice, fruits, milk, fresh vegetables. These are foods in mode of goodness. But all three are attached to eating. Krishna says, mode of goodness is illuminating. It frees one from all sinful reactions. So those situated in mode of goodness, they become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. बड़ा आनंद है, थोड़ा ज्ञान मिलता है. Goodness means they get knowledge how things are working, and they feel a higher sense of happiness than those who are in mode of passion and ignorance. Now somebody, we'll take one example. Like everyone likes to hear music, right? Everyone likes to hear music, and if some party is there, dancing is there, people like to celebrate that. Now there are some who like hard rock music, bang bang or खूब सारा instrument बज रहा हो. So they like this kind of music. Whereas there are others who like little different kind of music, and there are hardcore music who are known as, in English it is called connoisseurs. They taste the actual taste, so they like to hear classical. Now if you go to any person who loves to hear classical music, you take him to this Michael Jackson show or Justin Bieber show, they will close their ears and run away from it. Because that's not music, that's noise. And it is actually noise. For those who are in mode of ignorance, they like that kind of music. Heavy metallic rock or lots of sound, noise and bass, they increase. This is mode of ignorance. Whereas classical means बढ़िया flute बज रहा है, तबला बज रहा है, guitar बज रहा है. So everyone is attached, and in mode of passion, they like different other kinds, drum and all. Even same activity, listening to music can be in three modes. And those who have taste for music in mode of goodness, classical music, they don't like music in lower grades of music. But this is all conditioning. He is conditioned by a sense of happiness. This is good. But he is attached to music, not to Krishna. So similarly, in mode of goodness, life becomes very happy, peaceful. And he has knowledge of other things. He can see things as they are. So this is binding in the sense that it gives us happiness. Then one thinks that this material world is not such a bad place. इतना ज़्यादा scriptures में बोला जा रहा है, इतना भी खराब नहीं. That's why you see, typically in India, people they like to go to temple, they like to do some kind of puja, but it's all to have some religious feeling, because that is in mode of goodness. So they want to live a pious life, but when we tell them to do bhakti, chant Hare Krishna, whether you are pious or impious, you have to take a new birth, and birth, death, old age, disease, these are real problems of life. So one should use this human body to solve these 4 real problems and go back to spiritual world. No. पंडित जी किसी और के घर जाइए, प्रचार कहीं और करिए. So they don't listen because they are already satisfied in their pious life. So when somebody is engaged in bad activities, it is easier to bring such people in bhakti. Or somebody who is already having a disciplined life, balanced life, to bring him, such person say, my life is already very okay. Why should I practice bhakti? He doesn't feel like doing it. He doesn't feel the distresses of material nature as people who are in passion and ignorance they feel. So it's more difficult to bring such people in bhakti. So they say when good becomes the enemy of best, then situation is very different. So this is something like that. So I have our devotees, and they performed a drama this is in London. It's long back. They performed a drama on these 3 modes, where a devotee has taken role of soul, and then 3 other devotees took the role of goodness, passion, ignorance, showing the 3 modes of nature. It's a 18 minutes drama, so we are not going to show that, but little clip I have kept, so you all can watch this. So how goodness conditions when a soul comes in this material world, how he is conditioned by goodness. Let's see that.
Come, let us go for a stroll in the countryside. Look. I brought us a healthy picnic lunch. The air is clean here, so peaceful. Here we can get away from the agitating elements of the city. Here, please sit down.
So this was mode of goodness. Very peaceful, calm, everything good. So people want this kind of feeling. In the name of spirituality, anybody who offers them some process which can make them feel light, peaceful, they think, this is spiritual life. This is spirituality. So even in in the name of spirituality, people are doing lots of other process activities which has no relation with the scriptures, which is just sometimes people go to some meditation center where they are made to laugh artificially, they are made to embrace each other, hug the tree, or do some good activities, feel good, be positive. This is all trying to come in mode of goodness. And this naturally gives a sense of happiness. So people think, this is spiritual life. But that is also conditioning. Demigods are much more in mode of goodness than us. But still they are within this grip of Maya. Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi. Now comes Rajogun. Rajogun is Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi. Krishna Sangha Samudbhavan. Tannibadhanati Kaunte. Karma Sangena Dehina. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings. This is the characteristic of mode of passion. Unnecessary desire, which we don't need it. Like in economics, they have a law. They create want. The economists, they create want. If you don't need it, we will create want, so that you will feel that I need this in my life and I must buy it. Otherwise, I'll not be happy. That's a big malls, showrooms. You go and enter any showroom, you have to purchase just one t-shirt and then you end up purchasing 6-7 dresses. Why? Maybe acha. This is all desires. So entire this modern civilization, this media, what they are doing, they are disturbing our subconscious mind. Like when a pond is settled, the mud is at the bottom. But when you disturb the pond, the mud comes out and the water becomes dirty. So this entire ad industry, media, what they are doing, they are disturbing our mind. Lots of desire are coming on the surface. And then we feel disturbed unless I satisfy these desires, I'll be miserable. So that's why this is material. It bounds living entity to material fruitive actions. Then one engages in lots of actions and he wants to enjoy the fruits. Let's see the clip of that same drama, how mode of passion works.
Oh! What are you doing, man? Out here working on your tan? Money's the honey Sunday! I bet you forgot about Susie, didn't you? You're supposed to take her to Vegas this weekend. You know, lose your money, Vegas? You really think she's gonna love you when you're living somewhere under a tree? Her father owns half the West Side! You gotta go. Make them bucks, Chuck! Make some money. Buy some stock! Oh, you...
This is mode of passion. And this is ignorance. Typical engineering student. Tamastva jnana jamvidhi mohanam sarvadehina pramadadasya nidrabhistannibadhanati Bharata. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. Results of this mode are madness, indolence, sleep, lazy, lethargy. Kuch karna hi nahi hai life. No goal, no vision. At least in mode of passion, a person is working. He is earning a lot of money, or he's active. At least he's active. Even though he's active like a monkey, monkey's activeness has no use. But still, something he is doing, at least moving his body. But in ignorance, it is characterized by nidra, alasya, and pramad, madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the condition. So, this is number.
Slow down, Mr. Soul. You work too hard. You're gonna burn yourself out, man. Hey, I got you something. Try some of this refreshment. Feels better already, doesn't it? You know, so feel like you could go far in this world. But you work too hard. How can you?
So these are three modes how they condition. This is how they condition. So this entire what current situation in society is either people are in ignorance or they are in passion. So all these motivational seminars, motivational speakers, they just increase passion. You see the way they speak, the way they deliver their speech. It is all to increase the mode of passion. Kuch to karo. And then people become very passionate and then they come out of the hall, now I can do something. I remember once here, we have a PVR cinema here near our temple. So one student, one college boy, he bunked his classes and he came to see this movie was shown, which had super racing bikes, not a Bollywood movie, it was some Hollywood movie where Tom Cruise was riding a bike, racing bike. Mission Impossible. Yeah, this movie was Mission Impossible. So he saw the movie, and this movie he saw how he's riding the bike, boom, boom, taking turns, steep turns, and riding at speed of 200, 250 kilometers per hour. And then he became so filled with passion. He came out from the cinema hall. I'll also do like that. And the first thing when he looked at his bike, half of the motivation went down. Well, Tom Cruise was riding Yamaha Y2K, and here he has his Splendor. And then he came and sat on his Splendor, and then he tried to turn it like Tom Cruise does, keeping it on stand and just turn it. So this boy, he started, and he turned the bike, and the stand broke, and the bike, it slipped from his hand, and because he had started it, it just hit the wall, and front tire got fractured or whatever. So then the remaining 50% motivation went down there again. So people feel they think that if somehow my passion increases and others also, in the name of motivation, they just increase others' passion. But not everyone can do the same activity. Everyone's modes are different. So entire civilization, current civilization, is either in ignorance or in passion. That's why you see so much people are rushing just to earn 2 times bread. They're working so hard. And then when they are frustrated, they want to enjoy in a better way. So they go to some hilly areas or some remote places spend time with nature, or they attend some kind of sessions or some kind of spiritual sessions. In the name of spirituality, they attend some kind of meditation or whatever. And when they get a good feeling, mind becomes peaceful. So they say, now this is better. So it is actually same thing, enjoyment in mode of ignorance. When a person is in ignorance, he thinks sleeping is the best activity. So 14 hours, 15 hours, if I get to sleep for 10 hours, that is success of life. 6 days they will work hard, Monday to Saturday. Then Sunday I should get good sleep. So aaj sounga ghar jaake achhe se. This is ignorance. One who is in passion, he thinks chutti mili hai, let's go and drive, go for a long drive, go to movies, eat in restaurants. This is mode of passion. Mode of goodness, let's go to some hilly area, some remote area. Let's go to some spiritual camp or some temple to get a good feeling. That's a religious. But it is all same thing is happening. Center is my sense enjoyment. And then again Monday comes, then again same activity, passion, ignorance, it starts. It has, nobody understands Krishna consciousness and what Krishna consciousness can offer. It offers us the highest taste, which is on the level of pure goodness. So that's why a devotee, he does not take interest in any of these activities. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati rajah karmani bharata jnanam avritya tu tamah pramade sanjayati ruta. So now all these three modes condition us to different modes of different species of life. O son of Bharat, the mode of goodness condition one to happiness. The demigods, those who are living in higher planetary systems, even humans on this planet, those who are living a good balanced life, they experience happiness. So mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions one to fruitive activities. Lots of activities. So these pictures are self-explanatory. And ignorance covering one's knowledge binds one to madness. It takes us down to the lower species of life, animal life. So this competition is always going on between these three modes. Krishna explains, sometimes mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating mode of passion and ignorance. Sometimes passion defeats goodness. So that's why sometimes we also come in goodness. Sometimes we are in passion. Sometimes we are in ignorance. Even demigods, they are predominantly in goodness, but sometimes they also get affected by passion or ignorance. So then they also do some activities, which then we may wonder how can demigods act like this? But one who understands Bhagavad Gita, he knows that even demigods are not free. So that's why it's not very astonishing that Indra did like this, or Varuna acted like that, Agni did this. So there is competition between three modes. They are pulling each other. A living entity, just like three ropes are, if we are bound by three ropes and three people are pulling in their direction. So they are pulling, they are using their force, but who is suffering in between? I am suffering. Sometimes I'm going here, sometimes there, sometimes here. So I'm feeling that force. I'm suffering. So these three modes make us suffer in different ways. But still it is said that one should try to come in goodness, and that too mode of goodness by cultivating Krishna consciousness. Such a mode, the manifestation of mode of goodness, what it does, sarva dvareshu dehya prakasha upajaya. One who has knowledge, one who has transcendental knowledge, one who is acting in Krishna consciousness, he lives a life in mode of goodness. So in mode of goodness, all the doors of this body, there are 9 gates of the body, they are illuminated by knowledge. So what does it mean, illuminated by knowledge? That means the senses, the gates, like eyes is one of the gate, ears are another gate, nose are the gates, mouth, tongue is the gate. So there are 9 gates, 7 gates above, 2 gates down. So they don't interact with sense objects unnecessarily. Like ears. I want to hear some classical music. This is giving sense object to the sense. I want to hear rock music, or I want to hear some Bollywood Ingchak music, whatever it may be. It is all 3 modes. But a devotee, he does not, because his senses are illuminated by knowledge, so he puts only transcendental sound vibration in the ear. He will hear Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he will hear Kirtan, he will hear lectures. So this is called, all gates are illuminated by knowledge. That means they are not interacting with sense objects unnecessarily. Only that much which is required to maintain this body, and so that this body can be engaged in Krishna's service. So this happens by knowledge. But one who is in mode of passion, lobha pravrittir arambha, karmanam ashamah spriha, rajasi etani jayate vivriddhe bharatarshap. When there is an increase in the mode of passion, symptoms is great attachment. I want more. Whatever I have, I am attached to that. Even a small child shows this. If you take away his toy, he starts crying because mode of passion is working. So we all are attached to our belongings, our kin and kith, So this is mode of passion. It leads to fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering. It develops out of passion. But when there is increase in mode of ignorance, such foolish acts are committed. पिताजी सिर पीट रहे हैं अपने, क्या कर रहा है मेरा लड़का? This is modern family. Nowadays parents are thinking the same way. Where is my son going? What has happened to him? I sent him to school to become a good citizen, good gentleman. Whole day son is playing video game, he's watching movie, he's watching Netflix, he's watching Amazon Prime Video. How can you expect your son to behave in mode of goodness? So this is mode of ignorance, darkness, inertia, madness, illusion. This is manifest. Especially in Western countries, if you go to countries like USA and London, because they have money. In Western countries, they have money, so they waste their time, lots of time. They don't study nicely. They don't work as Indians. General Indian parents think my kid should study nicely and he should get a job, and we are also working that same way. But in Western countries, because they already have lots of facilities, so it results in ignorance. The younger generation, especially, they are highly misdirected, taking all kinds of nonsense stuff, drugs and liquor and all, and investing their life in other activities. Prabhupada mentions in the purport, when there is no illumination and knowledge is absent, one is in mode of ignorance, does not work by a regulative principle. Whimsical life. This is mode of ignorance. कभी भी खा लिया, कभी भी सो गए, कभी भी कुछ भी कर लिया. You see this student, this boy, this is his life. Sometimes he'll order from Swiggy, sometimes from McDonald's, he'll drink Coke, he'll play video games, he'll chat with friends on Facebook, Instagram, and when exam comes, he will burn his eyes by remaining awake whole night. So he thinks that I'm living a happy life, but actually his own body is becoming worse. He is disturbing his own system. This is called illusion. Even though he has the capacity to work, he makes no endeavor. This is called illusion. Consciousness is going on, life is inactive. What does it mean? Life is inactive. We have got life, but this life is not meant for engaging in sense gratification. One who is wasting his life like this is actually as good as a dead person, because his consciousness is dead. It's completely absorbed in matter. So such life is useless. That's why it is inactive. Real life means when one becomes Krishna's devotee. He is real advance. He is doing real advance. He is living a healthy life. These are the symptoms. So this is all three modes. Now Krishna explains what destination one gets when one dies in particular mode. When one dies in mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. Like these are nice Gurukul boys. They are listening from Narad Muni. This is one great pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam. So they were in goodness and they went to planets of higher sages, 7 sages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. So in passion, when one dies, he takes birth among same society. Like somebody who has died thinking of his family, his property, he takes birth as same human in next life. But when one dies thinking, and his whole life was filled with such activities. So you see these paintings, this is given in Bhagavad Gita also. The kind of activity he is doing, that same body he is preparing for himself in his next life. Here, this entity is exposing its body, so next life you'll get a body where remain exposed throughout your life. Stand at one place, remain exposed. He is using his body to eat flesh, nature will award him such body. He is wasting human life in sleeping, nature will award a body like where you can sleep for 6 months. He is eating rotten item, filth, so he'll get a body So this is all these are all activities in mode of ignorance. The result of pious action is pure. In pious, when one lives a pious life, he does charity, he constructs wells, ponds, parks, temples, so that the surrounding looks good. So this is the result of pious activity, mode of goodness. This is action, mode of passion. Typical city life, mode of passion. You go to any city, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, big skyscraper buildings, cut all the trees, make big buildings, and then suffer. This is mode of passion. And this is mode of ignorance. Whatever one does in mode of ignorance, it results in foolishness. Just like here. बनाते बनाते इतना बना दिया कि निकलने का रास्ता ही नहीं था. This is foolishness. From mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From mode of passion, greed develops. From mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develops. Now, destination, Krishna explains, when one dies in mode of goodness, they go to upward, higher planets. We are living in an earthly planetary system. There are 14 planetary systems in this universe. Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Patal, Rasatal, like that. And then Bhulok, Bhuvarlok, Swarglok, Maharlok, Janalok, and Brahmalok. 14 planetary systems are there. In each planetary system, you can think of it as different plates. 14 discs kept at different heights. Each disc has lots of points. So it's like planetary systems are like circular discs, where planets are the innumerable points. So they have lots of space in between. So earthly planetary system means there are lots of other planets in the same system. When we go higher, when we see stars, moons, sun, they are higher planetary systems. They are above them. And similarly, there are lower planetary systems which are not visible to us. When one dies in mode of goodness, he goes to higher planets. When one dies in mode of passion, he remains here on earthly planet. And when one dies in ignorance, he goes to hellish planets. So now, this is the last part of this chapter, till 19th to 27th. Krishna explains the vision when one understands how these modes are working. When he sees that in all activities, whatever activity somebody is performing, it is just 3 modes are working. So a sage, a Tattvadarshi, when he looks at a person, he does not see that person behaving in that manner. He sees that modes are active. Soul is not active. Soul is pure. But because this soul is right now conditioned by 3 modes, so he is acting in a particular way. So that's why a devotee, he does not hate anyone. He sees that modes are working. His modes are driving him crazy right now. So he tries to engage people as per their modes. Somebody is in mode of goodness, so he'll get a service like, okay, you read books, read more, give classes. These are activities in mode of goodness. Somebody who's in passion, so he'll be given service like, okay, you manage temple, you do purchasing, you do other activities. There are several activities in a temple where management is required. You do registration for program, you call lots of people, invite them for program. He wants some activities. When somebody is in ignorance, he will be given activity like, okay, you do this. And they will be engaged in a particular activity and they can alone work. So sadhu, he knows how to engage people based on their modes. And gradually, because all the activities in Krishna consciousness, whether it is giving class or whether it is sweeping the temple hall, brooming the temple floor, it is all transcendental because it is connected to Krishna. So it elevates a person higher to the mode of pure goodness, which is beyond these 3 modes. So in Krishna consciousness, all the activities are liberating. It is transcendental. But still, because we are in modes, so we are engaged as per our inclinations. These inclinations are nothing but our modes. The Varnashram system, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, which we heard in the previous chapter, this is all modes only. Brahmana means he is predominantly in goodness. Kshatriya means predominantly in passion. Vaishya means mixture of passion and ignorance. And Shudra means ignorance. So Brahmana, because he is in mode of goodness, so he can study Vedic literatures. He can teach others. And he can live a simple life because he is happy in cultivating knowledge. Kshatriya, because he's in passion, so he needs activities like the challenging tasks he needs. So he's given administration. He can fight war. Fighting means passion. A Vaishya, he's mixture of passion and ignorance. So he's just satisfied with money. He wants lots of money. Greed factor is there. And ignorant Shudra means ignorant. He cannot work independently. He has to be engaged. So that's why Shudra supports these three other classes. So these modes you will find everywhere. Everywhere. So some people they are like naturally, it's very natural for them to become a leader because his mode is like that. Somebody is very naturally attached to studying scriptures. Somebody is naturally very good at doing business, and somebody is very good at doing his job. ठीक है, हमको बता दो क्या करना, I'll do remaining. So these are not discriminatory things, not to look down on somebody or like people think that Jativad or caste system. Actually, this caste system which we are seeing today, it is perverted form. Krishna actually made it on the basis of these modes because you will find this category, this division everywhere in the society. We cannot avoid. But when the embodied soul is able to transcend these three modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses and can enjoy nectar even in this life. The one who is in pure Krishna consciousness, he is not in three modes. He is guided by Paramatma. All his activities are transcendent. So even in this life, even within the body, he is enjoying that nectar. Now Arjun asks in between, "Oh my dear Lord, Kair linge string guna netan atito bhavati prabhu." Somebody who has transcended, when Krishna mentioned here in 20th verse, Arjuna asks, somebody who has transcended the modes, what are his symptoms? How is to be recognized? What is his behavior? And how does he transcend the modes? So this is the last conclusion of Lord. 22nd to 25th verse, he explains the qualities of a person who has transcended the modes. And look at the qualities. You can make a list of this. It will be his assignment for tomorrow. Make a list of these qualities. He does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present. Means when knowledge comes or something, some facility has come in my life, he does not hate it. I am renounced, so I don't want it. No. And if it is not there, then he doesn't lament. You see, life of devotees. When Pandavas, they had a kingdom, that time also they were happy, blissful, because they were with Krishna. When they had no kingdom, still they were blissful. Prabhupada, when he was in Vrindavan, living alone, no money, nothing, still he was blissful, chanting whole day, looking at deities, working on his translation. And when he got the opportunity to preach, to go to Western country, he preached vigorously. And then Krishna gave him so many disciples, so much fame, so much recognition. He got 108 temples. So more than a king he got. He was much more than a king. But still he was detached. In Mayapur, in Vrindavan, in Bombay, here Mumbai, right now we are seeing such big temples. During Prabhupada's time, the situation was totally different. In Bhubaneswar, we have beautiful temple right now. When Prabhupada went in Bhubaneswar, it was forest area, under forest, and it was barren land. Devotees, they said, we don't want to live here. Any dacoit will come and loot us. But Prabhupada stayed in a mud hut. His disciple, His Holiness Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, he constructed a hut and he was staying in that hut. Few devotees were there, few brahmacharis were there. And Prabhupada had said that he had given that land to him, said, you build a temple here. So then he was working, he was preaching, and he was trying to arrange funds. So Prabhupada, when he came to stay there, devotees had arranged his stay in an apartment in the city, in Bhubaneswar city. Prabhupada said, no, I will stay in my home. Prabhupada never called I'll stay in temple. He would call temples his home. Then I'll stay in my home, where my disciples are staying. So Prabhupada went and he stayed in that hut for 17 days. So many mosquitoes were there, forest mosquitoes, water was not proper, no facility was there. Prabhupada stayed in a hut. So just imagine a world guru, Jagat Guru, who has 108 temples all over the world, more than 10,000 disciples. And devotees would receive him in Rolls Royce when he would go to abroad visit, foreign visit. And such Acharya, he is staying in a hut. 17 days he stayed there and he was translating. All same activities are same. Prabhupada, wherever he went, his activities were same. Night time is for translation, daytime is for preaching. And then he would come at the night, he would come at by 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. He would take little milk, little puri, dip it in the milk with sugar, eat it, and just say, this is Krishna conscious life. Hardly he was eating something. And whole day preaching, night time translating. This is a person who has transcended the modes. He is not influenced by modes of nature. That's why wherever he goes, he transforms people's life. Somebody who is himself affected by modes. We all are affected by modes. Just imagine you go to give class, you go to preach, and there you see girls, boys, they are sitting together, not wearing anything. They have not taken bath from 1 month. They're smoking. Half of them are in drugs, and I'm giving Gita class. Will I be able to speak in front of such a crowd? Will any one of us be able to handle such people? But Prabhupada got such people in the beginning. He made devotees from this crowd, hippies who were taking drugs. I'm sure you all have watched that video, documentary on Prabhupada's life. I shared that video in the group a few days back. 15 minutes video is there. If you have not watched, please watch it. You see in what situation Prabhupada preached. Because he was completely in pure goodness. This is a person who has transcended modes. He is unwavering, undisturbed through all the reactions of material body, remaining neutral, transcendental. He knows that only modes are active. He is situated in the self, regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye. Everything is matter. He does not get attracted by matter. चाहे सोना हो, चाहे पत्थर हो, चाहे मिट्टी हो, ये सब बराबर. But those who are conditioned, for us, gold means money, stone is useless. But a sage, his vision is different. So this is vision of a person who has transcended the modes. And how to transcend the modes? This Krishna explains in last 3 verses. Mam cha yoga vicharena bhakti yogena se. Answer is same. Sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya. One who engages in devotional service unfailing in all circumstances, he transcends the modes. And thus comes to the level of Brahman. He becomes fully spiritual. This Brahman, Krishna said, this Brahman, I am the basis of it. Brahmano hi pratishtha. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, eternal. Shashvatasya, amritasya, avyayasya. And it is dharmasya, it is our constitutional position. Dharma means constitutional position. And it is source of ultimate happiness. Sukhasya, kantikasya. So Krishna says, I am the basis of this impersonal Brahman. That's why he concludes in the last verse like this. So this was chapter number 14, conditioning of the modes, characteristics and actions in the death of the modes, and how a person who has transcended the modes, how to identify him, what are his symptoms, how does he work, how to transcend the modes. So this was 14th chapter. One who understands this chapter, this is the most important chapter because we all are within the modes. So our devotional activities also, we are trying to serve Krishna, but we are always influenced by modes. If we understand it nicely, what is goodness, what is passion, what activities will keep me more in goodness. So this is called, Srila Rupa Goswami has given definition of doing favorable devotional service. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratipulyasya varjanam. Whatever is favorable for bhakti, accept it. Whatever is unfavorable, reject. So a devotee, he accepts things which will take him closer to Krishna. And keep him in pure goodness. Krishna is in pure goodness, it will keep him in pure goodness. So one should constantly analyze how much I have transcended the mode. Takes time. It's not a job of 1 year or 2 years or 5 years, 10 years. It takes one lifetime at least. So we have already suffered for lakhs and lakhs of lifetime. One lifetime is nothing in comparison. 1:1 lakh ratio is almost 0. So this one lifetime we give to Krishna and engage in his bhakti, and which is the process is so simple activities. Just chant Hare Krishna, offer bhova to Krishna, eat Krishna prasad, read Bhagavad Gita, read Bhagavatam, hear beautiful ecstatic musical kirtans, hear nice lectures, have good discussions. What more does one want? Entire family can sit together and chant and dance, and we can easily go back to Godhead. When Prabhupada started preaching in America, when the temple was not established, he had a small storefront which was named Matchless Gift. It was a gift shop. So the name was the Matchless Gift. So Prabhupada did not change the name. The name was there, the Matchless Gift. Even a book was printed later, and the book's title is the Matchless Gift. So Prabhupada, he would give twice in a week, he would give Gita lectures, and several young boys and girls, they would come to attend. So that time Prabhupada did not have anything. There was one painting of a Panchatattva, and then Prabhupada would keep some incense and sticks. He would sit on his asana. You can see this video. In that video, there is a clip. Prabhupada is coming and he's giving class. And he made he would keep a big bowl, a big glass jar filled with gulab jamuns. He is Bengali person, so he knew how to make sweets. He would make a big gulab jamuns dipped in syrup, and he would keep in a transparent glass jar, big glass jar. He would keep it on the table. Anyone who comes for the class, they can eat one gulab jamun, and while leaving also they can eat one gulab jamun. Nobody had ever tasted. Just imagine a pure devotee is cooking, and he's offering it with his full heart, with pure love to Krishna. Krishna has tasted that. What would be its taste? Sara Agarwal, Bikaner, Haldiram, sab tailors. So they would taste that gulab jamun, and that's how they became devotees. It's famously known. Even today we don't call it gulab jamun, we call it ISKCON bullet. Like with bullet, you hunt a person down. Prabhupada said, I hunted you down. I made you devotee by feeding you gulab jamun. So Prabhupada said one day, devotees were there, and they were talking about Mayavadis, impersonalists, how much tapasya they do. They undergo such a severe austerities. They starve their bodies. So Prabhupada was discussing that how they are wasting their life and they are not understanding Krishna consciousness. So he took out one gulab jamun from the jar and he put it in his mouth. And so by eating gulab jamun, we will go to Krishna, and they will still remain here by practicing all their austerity. So this is Krishna consciousness. There we just have to change the nature of activity. It remains the same. Eating is there, dancing is there, singing is there, going to various places, same activity, tendency is the same. But we are dovetailing it and molding our life in such a way that we always remember Krishna. So this is by this simple process of Krishna consciousness, one can transcend the mode and go back to Golok. Okay. So this is very important. This chapter is very important for all of us. So we should understand it nicely. Please read the purports. Very small chapter. Small purports are there. More about these three modes will come in 17th chapter. And 3 divisions of faith. The chapter's title is. So even faith is in modes, 3 different modes. किसी की श्रद्धा किसमें है वो भी उसके गुणों पे आधारित है. So we will discuss this 2 days later. Today 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so time for questions. Let's take some questions. Yes, Mataji.
No questions today, but I want to first thank you for the Bhagavatam class you took this morning. You know, somehow I got that sense of continuity, because in the evening we are with you and then early morning also. So it seemed like I was in the temple all through the night. What I wanted to actually point out to all our sisters and brothers, you know, the 3 clips that you showed us of the play and the painting, it was very prominent that the mode of goodness is in white. It's pure. The mode of passion is in red, bright red and all that.
Yes.
And the mode of, not good, the lower mode is in dark.
Black.
It's black. Just wanted to bring that out, how beautifully it has been done. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Today's chapter was really very good. And I have to now think maybe my chapter 12 can be explained better with this chapter, because I read chapter 12, as I told you, every day rather,
Yes.
So maybe I'll get more insight now.
This helps. That's what Krishna said, no? This is jnana, knowledge, which is bringing us to bhakti. So middle 6 chapters are more better understood when you understand the 3 modes.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Vedanta. Yesterday I could not take your question. You had left before I could come to you. You can ask your question.
Yes,
Yesterday's
sir,
question also. and
question
today's.
question is in the chat box, and my yesterday question were solved in this chapter, today's session.
Can utopia ever be created in Kali Yuga just by spirituality? Depends what you are considering as utopia. What is your definition? There is a strict dictionary definition of utopia. As I understand, utopia means something. Yeah.
Where everyone is happy, there is no crime, there is no sinful acts. Can such utopia, which was there in Satyug, can it be created in Kali Yuga?
Definitely, it can be created.
Just by spirituality.
Nothing is impossible. If everyone becomes Krishna conscious, this world will become Vaikuntha. Time will come. It is predicted in the scriptures that in Kali Yuga, like when a day ends and night starts, between that there is a junction which is known as Sandhya, evening time, twilight. Not twilight, evening, junction. So during that junction, you see there is no sun has set, and darkness is about to come. But still some light is there, one can see. And the birds, they return to their nest at that time. That is the time for all the birds and animals to return to their places. The humans have become special. They start working at this time. But in earlier times, those who work as per nature's law, they sleep after when darkness starts. So all the animals you see, they are working as per nature. That's why they don't have lots of diseases. They wake up before sunrise or at max by sunrise, and then they sleep when darkness comes. So that Sandhya is time for returning home. So it is explained, it is predicted in scriptures that in Kali Yuga, at the beginning of Kali Yuga, we have 4,32,000 years in Kali Yuga. Only 5,000 years have passed. It is predicted in between there a time will come which will be golden period, as good as Satya Yuga, where people will be more inclined towards religiosity, towards dharma, and they will practice Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, my books will guide humanity for 10,000 years. So this Krishna consciousness movement, Lord Chaitanya appeared 500 years back. He laid the foundation, and then different acharyas, 6 Goswami, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, they have all worked in that direction. Srila Prabhupada directed this society because now his disciples are expanding, and it will gradually go on expanding. And you can see in 50 years it has expanded so much, and it is continuing to expand. You will not find it anywhere where when an acharya or when the leader of the organization, when he dies, then followers are still continuing with that same vigor, and it is expanding in the same manner. So it is expanding, and gradually books are going out in same number. Every year we are increasing our book distribution new temples are coming. More and more people are getting connected to wisdom of Gita, Bhagavatam. So it is expanding. And gradually a time will come in just few hundred years when the entire world situation will become different. You just wait. And people are fed up. Right now, we are just waiting for the time. This modern civilization, it only increases frustration. It is just expansion of matter, material knowledge. Just like, and people think this is advancement, but this is increasing our anxiety. In earlier times, in Vedic times, not Vedic times, just 50 years back, you ask your grandparents, when they had to hear something, listen to something, they would sit together in the evening time, they would discuss something, hear some katha, or then later this radio came. So one family would have a radio. They would play the music, and entire villagers they would gather together to hear one song. And then gradually this is expanding. When people got TV at their homes, everyone got their independent radios. Then mobile came. Then earphones came. Then now we want freedom from wire. Also the Bluetooth came. Activity is same. It is just we are expanding the same activity and trying to do it in a more better way. So we are nowhere going closer to the soul or super soul. So this is not advancement. And gradually it is increasing frustration. You see, are you there or not? Yeah. So what take any example of this modern technology. Within 1 or 2 years it becomes outdated. Right now you are in college or working?
College,
Which year?
junior.
You are in junior college, so right now you must be having some smartphone. But you ask your brothers
Yes.
who have passed out in, say, like I passed out 12th in 2010. We could hardly think of having a smartphone. Like a smartphone had not come. Android was very new. And within, I am seeing last 3-4 years, this mobile technology, mobile industry has boomed so much. Within 1 year, mobile becomes outdated. Like one mobile is launched, next year it is like nobody's asking about that mobile. So it is happening at very fast speed. We are thinking we are advancing. Actually, it is just increasing our frustration level. People's attention span is decreasing, their satisfaction level is decreasing. Earlier, people could watch a movie for 3 hours patiently, although this is sense enjoyment. Now they cannot watch a video for more than 30 seconds. So all this Instagram video, YouTube shorts, what is this? This is just proving that people are becoming less and less attentive. Their satisfaction level has become so low that everything they want in few seconds. So many things they have in their hands, but still dissatisfied. And when we look at the higher, bigger scale, at the level of countries, where all money is going, 60% of our country's money is spent in defense. Each and every country, they are working for, they're investing money in weapons. What will be the result? When you purchase a bike, when you purchase a car, surely you drive it. It's not to keep in showroom. So all these leaders, blind leaders who are accumulating weapons, it has to be used one day. And they will face the reactions. Only those who are practicing Krishna consciousness, they will be saved by Krishna's mercy. Remaining all those whose lives are sinful, they will die horribly. And then people will turn towards same old Vedic lifestyle, where it is more connected to the planet, Mother Earth, natural way of living. Even today, this trend has started. Natural way of living, eat organic food, live a natural lifestyle. Recently, I heard one Tollywood actor, South Indian actor, he has left acting and he has started his farmhouse. So people are now turning towards that same old lifestyle. It's not old, it's actually gold because you are more
But
close to Mother Earth. So, yeah, I'm concluding. So, what your question was, this is possible only when this Krishna consciousness will be preached, and this Krishna consciousness is teaching people to live a natural lifestyle. One of the 7 purposes of ISKCON is to teach people living a natural and simple lifestyle dependent on Krishna. So it will come, that day will come, but it is not going to remain for long. That is also predicted. Kali Yuga is meant for uh, people who are very sinful from all over the universe, sinful souls whose karma are bringing them together. They come in and take birth in Kali Yuga. When Kali Yuga ends, then Satya Yuga will start. But yes, anytime situation can be changed if entire humanity takes to Krishna consciousness. So nothing is permanent here. It's not mandatory that Kali Yuga has to go for 4,32,000 years. Independence is there. If we all take to Krishna consciousness right here, right now, this world will become Vaikuntha. It is possible.
But then question arise
Hmm.
that what will be the reason of the decline of the golden age, which you said that golden age will be equal to
Same,
Satyuga, then
same,
what will be the reason to decline?
same thing. Our misuse of our independence. There will be some fools. See, when a person rises in power, his influence is seen, and he can suppress the evildoers. Even though evildoers are present in society, they cannot act. Like Parikshit Maharaj when he was ruling, when Janmejaya was ruling, there were rogues and thieves, but they could not act because they feared the king a lot. But when such powerful leader disappears, then they become very active. So similarly, some people will be there. Their effect will not be seen in the society. They will not be able to do anything, any bad, because dharma will be practiced. But gradually, the modes, Kali Yuga is also pulling us down. It will create disharmony. If everyone sticks to Krishna consciousness, it cannot do anything to the devotees. But if we slacken in our practice, if we do not practice our process nicely, then Kali Yuga is always ready to pull us down. Even right now, right now we are trying to practice, we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we are chanting, we are reading. If we stop it, today I don't feel like chanting. Immediately you see where your consciousness is going. Today I did not chant my round, so what did I do? I watched movie, or I spoke, I wasted time in gossiping, or I went here and there. So immediately that Maya is just right here, standing just beside us. Krishna and Maya, because Maya is Krishna's energy. So wherever there is Krishna, his energy is also there. But if we have caught hold of Krishna's feet, Maya cannot pull us. But when we leave Krishna's feet, then Maya takes us down. So that will happen. People will become, they will become lazy in their spiritual practices. They will become casual. Then again, same thing will start.
Okay, cleared. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I
Question? Yes,
may
ma'am.
I just want to share something with you, Prabhuji. You know, post COVID, I started forgetting my vocabulary, and I wouldn't remember names. So I took to exercising through Wordscape and all that. But then later on, I realized I'm getting addicted. And you're right to that extent that for telephones and all, But had it not been for this technology, I would have never learned from Raghupati Das that you're holding this class. And now I'm taking these classes. I'm so far off from Bombay, but so I think Krishna, I mean, whatever the technology, if we allow Krishna to guide
That's because
us.
devotees are engaging technology in Krishna's service. If
Yeah,
technology was
okay.
not there, we would be traveling on feet and everyone would be ready to welcome saints in their homes. So you would
Yes,
have received
Prabhuji.
some saint at your home and you would have got direct opportunity to hear from a sadhu. Now because of
Yes,
technology, you are sitting in a far place and dependent on
yes.
phone. Then by Krishna's
Oh,
grace, you got a message over phone or telephone. That
yes,
class
yes,
is happening.
Prabhuji.
But this is not that
And then,
technology is helping in preaching. If
no,
technology,
no, no. But
we are
I
not
went through
dependent
this
on it.
mode. Yes,
Huh.
Prabhuji, I went through this mode where when I became addicted to playing Wordscape, because that was my only thing, which was trying to, then I would go to YouTube and listen to the lectures and discourses and I would do my morning darshan of, the deities. So then I became very thankful for this invention. So I think it's Krishna's grace that whatever is happening in the world, but when he wants to draw us, he'll draw us even through this materialistic advancement, Am I right in thinking like that? Or
Yeah,
I
Krishna
don't know.
can draw us from through any method, provided we are ready to come near him.
Right. Yes.
The
Actually,
situation
because
was
of
much
that.
better in previous ages.
Yeah.
When there
No,
was
no,
no
I'll even
technology.
do my questionnaires. It's just that my body doesn't allow me to sit for too long or whatever, So I'll definitely do my, questionnaires also before, God willing, before we complete the. Anyway, please pray for me. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Okay, any more questions? और कोई question नहीं तो हम यहाँ रोकते हैं. Okay, 13th. This discussion was remaining. Should we discuss that, or you all have solved? Anyone has any doubt from yesterday's assignment? Any doubt? Okay, so I'll just read it out quickly, and you just verify your answers. It's very simple because it is Bhagavad Gita as it is. The assignment was as it is. Just have to read the purport and copy it. So we had discussed till cleanliness, till simplicity. So I'll read it out, and then you see whether you have written correctly or not. So then after simplicity comes accepting Acharya Upasana. Acharya Upasana means one should accept a spiritual master with all humility. Krishna explained in 4th chapter 34th verse. And then the spiritual master blesses his disciple because he is representative of Krishna. So Acharya Upasana. Upasana means to worship. How a spiritual master is worshipped? By following his instructions, so that he advances, disciple advances in Krishna consciousness. Cleanliness, internal and external. There are two kinds of cleanliness. External cleanliness means taking bath, wearing fresh clothes, and internal cleanliness is by chanting Hare Krishna, remembering Krishna. Steadiness means staying determined to progress in spiritual life. Self-control means do not accept anything which is detrimental for the path of spiritual progress. And that is what I quoted Rupa Goswami's verse, Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjana. This is self-control. What is not favorable for bhakti, I reject it. Even though my senses are demanding it. My senses are hankering for it. Leave it. So this is real renunciation purpose. Senses are very strong. They are always anxious for sense gratification. So we should not cater to their demands, unnecessary demands. Then comes after this, Indriyartheshu vairagyam. That is renunciation. Anahankara evacha. Anahankara means false ego. The false ego means accepting body as the self. So when one understands that I am not body, I am Brahman, I am spirit. So that sense of I is ego. False ego means accepting body as self. That is false. True ego means accepting oneself as Krishna's servant. Then Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Dosha Anudarshana. These are the real 4 problems of life. Real problems of life. Birth is painful. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd Canto. Kapil Dev explains in detail. We have a beautiful video on this, how a child suffers in the womb. And then everyone understands death, old age, disease. This is problem. Birth is a problem because a child is packed in the womb for 9 months and it is bitten by worms inside. It is just helpless. And then when it comes out, it starts crying. Detachment from children, wife, home. This I explained in morning class also. This means if they are not favorable for bhakti, be detached. Just do your duty. Don't be attached. कि अरे घर पे बच्चा नहीं है या पत्नी नहीं है या पति देव नहीं है तो मेरा क्या होगा? They are not doing bhakti, so be attached to Krishna. But if they are favorable for Krishna consciousness, their entire family can sit together and chant. We discussed when we were discussing this Gyan Yogan, there also we showed the various photos of Grihastha. This is beautiful painting. This painting is there on here. You see, husband, wife, kids, all are doing kirtan. So as devotees are doing kirtan in temples, somebody who does the same thing in home, that home also becomes temple. So this is the this is to be followed. If one follows this, that home becomes a temple. So then one does not have to renounce. But one should not be attached to family members on the basis of body. Then comes Nityam cha samachittatvam. Samachittam means equal. Happiness, distress both comes. One should learn to tolerate. Then comes Putradara Grihadishu. Nityam samachittam means equilibrium. Anishta upapattishu. Anishta means undesirable. Then Krishna explains, in purport is explained, equipoise. This position can only be reached when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, when we practice unbreakable devotional service. So that is there. Then comes Arati. Arati means being without attachment. Vivikta means solitary place. Vivikta Desha means solitary place. This does not mean going to forest, living in a solitary place. This means not mixing with materialistic people. So living in Vivikta Desha means a devotee understands that he does not associate with materialistic people who just are interested in sporting or cinema or enjoying social function, because these are waste of time. The devotee is interested in inquiring about soul. Then comes Adhyatma Gyan, that is self-realization. So that for that Bhakti Yoga. So that is Bhakti Yoga. And then comes, so all these are 19 elements. Krishna explains, Mai cha ananya yogena bhakti avyabhicharini. One who practices bhakti avyabhicharini. Avyabhicharini means without any break. So he automatically, as we discussed yesterday also, and we heard this verse. This verse was, what was that verse? Hara abhaktasya kuto mahadgun. So, yasyasti bhaktir bhavati akinchana. Prabhupada quotes this verse in this purport also. That one who becomes devotee of Lord Hari, he automatically develops these qualities. So these 19 items which are described in this verse, these 5 verses, these are automatically developed in the personality of a devotee who is engaged in pure devotional service. And one who engages in pure devotional service, he transcends the mode. Same thing came in 14th chapter. Tomorrow we will see Purushottam Yoga. This chapter is very famous all over India. People recite this chapter in Purushottam Mass, which comes once in 4 years. In our Vedic calendar, in English calendar, we have only 1 year, and then leap year we call it. And then there is additional day in the month of February, 365 days and some hours makes 1 year. But in Vedic calendar, 1 year equals to 360 days. We calculate as per moon's motion, 15 days, 15 days. So moon, waxing moon and waning moon. And that makes 1 month. So 30 days, 360 days becomes 1 year. So these remaining days now, solar motion, sun's motion and moon's motion. I'm giving you additional information. This you will not find in Bhagavad Gita. Sun travels its course in 365 days. And moon travels its course in 360 days. Moon is little faster than sun. So we calculate our all these muhurtas and time as per moon's motion. So then this day and night, after the 4 years, these 5 extra days of sun, it gets accumulated and it makes another month. It's a little more than 5 days. So after 4 years, it becomes 1 more month. And that is known as Adhik. Adhik means more. So that month Mas is known as Adhik Mas, also known as Purushottam Mas. It comes every 4 years. Next Purushottam Mas is coming then. So people recite this chapter in Purushottam Mas. It is coming in 2023. It came in 2020. This is 21. Next Purushottam Mas will come in 2023. So every month of this year is presided by one of the expansion of Lord Vishnu. This Adhik Mas is presided by Krishna himself as Purushottama. So people recite this chapter. Now, this is ritual. Devotees, they also recite, but it's not that they are hankering up. We can recite any chapter any day, any time, no problem. As I mentioned previously also, these benefits of reciting each chapter, this is just to attract a conditioned soul towards Bhagavad Gita. And that's not all in all, but still, somewhere or another, if we come closer to Bhagavad Gita, so these 15 chapter also has only 20 verses. So many devotees, they recite this daily. I recite it every day in the morning. So you can memorize this also. So this is yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottam Yoga. Krishna is explaining about, in this chapter, Krishna talks about his spiritual world, the nature of his spiritual abode, and how he is present in everyone's heart. Very beautiful verses are there. We will see it tomorrow. Thank you. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.